which leads into that next part of it, and what looks good and what is practical as well. So it's going to cover this again, but a lot of the times, and especially people here that are at part-time clubs, full-time clubs, whether it's a conference, I came from a conference club myself before I came to Rotherham, you might have to deal with 40 players at a time in a training session. And if you're in an academy, you might get thrown something last second at you with the under 16 side, and all the 18s, S&C can't take the warrant for the day, so you have to take that. So we really have to look at what looks good overall and versus really what is practical. It might not look the best just having your players run a lap or doing a simple dynamic warm through cones. You might get a bit of stick through players, but is it practical? Yeah, I would argue a lot of those are very, very practical. You might always have the time to do your 3-time-a-week groin squeeze or your Nord board, but are we hitting the normal base markers that we have? So again, that question through there is, are we setting up a good enough foundation for our houses and for our players? So do we need to change our approach as practitioners? I know I'm not trying to give a bit of existential crisis here on that one, but do we need to change kind of how we shift things, and I especially tailor this to this younger crowd and everyone that's kind of in that same seat that I might be in or was in a year or two ago. When you're coming out of university, you're coming into these new environments, do we need to change our approach of rather than looking at what's the most complicated, highest end performance aspect that we can get, can we just go from ground zero and build a base through that way? And as well, do we need to change our approach with players? Do we need to change the conversations we have? Do we need to maybe talk to them about the important details that matter the most rather than driving these little incremental increases in performance? So do we start building walls before we set our foundation of performance? So again, going back to those simple ones, is a player robust? Okay, those are the things that we need to start working on before